What's up YouTube community, Bernd here, welcome back to the channel and to a bit of a different video. Since we talked quite a lot about specific exercises, theory concepts and much more on the channel over the last couple of months, I'd like to share 5 very helpful habits with you today that massively improved my overall guitar playing. I really hope that you will try out some of these ideas and that you can benefit from them from now on. So let's not waste any more time and start right away. The first thing I'd like to share with you today is something you might be familiar with already, in case you watched some of my videos or follow my content in general. Of course, it's getting up early, but much more importantly, making your practice routine the first daily objective. Making my practice routine the very first thing I do every day, aside from getting breakfast, has helped me with many different things. First of all, it feels great to start into the day knowing that you already did some work to get better on the instrument. I also have the most amount of energy at the time of the day, after having a cup of coffee, of course. And it's much easier to really focus on the exercises and workouts, especially compared to a practice session after 8 or 10 hours of work. I like to work with a 1-hour practice routine that is divided into 4 different blocks of 15 minutes. I change the topics and the contents of each block on a regular basis to keep it interesting, and that kind of structured approach and daily routine made a huge difference for me. I always enjoyed practicing and spending time with the instrument since I started out almost 15 years ago, but I was always the typical kind of guitar player, especially when I was younger, that would just sit down and play and practice randomly for a couple of hours. And that way I never really experienced that exciting progress curve with difficult techniques or theory approaches, because I was just mixing free playing, playing songs, practicing all that kind of stuff with working on a couple of exercises here and there. And the really interesting and exciting results came as soon as I started to separate those two things. So to summarize all that, you don't have to get up at 4 or 4:30 like me if you don't enjoy doing that, but I can really recommend getting up a bit earlier and squeezing in that practice time before work or anything else you have to do that day. The second habit that really improved my playing is called recording guitar videos. I think I started really getting into recording guitar videos on a regular basis around 2 years ago. And the one thing I decided for myself in the beginning is that all of these videos have to be challenging for me in some way or another. So that means I want to challenge myself, my technique, my theory knowledge or any topics like that with every single YouTube lesson or Instagram video that I record. And that's the exact thing I love most about making these videos. It's a real win-win situation. So with all these videos I want to show you some cool exercises, practical demonstrations and more. So I want to inspire you to practice and to play guitar. And I also benefit of course from making the practical demonstrations quite challenging at some points. But of course I also want to make sure to keep everything accessible for you and to break down these complicated topics to the absolute foundation. So I can really recommend to you to record a couple of guitar videos and to share them on your favorite social media platforms. There are quite a lot of interesting benefits for you when it comes to that. First of all, as we discussed, you're really challenging yourself and your skills when you have to perform that stuff in front of a camera. The second benefit is that you get a real sense of accomplishment once you finally nail that take you want to share with the world. And it's really interesting to upload these videos, of course, and to interact with different people in the guitar community. And it might even lead to some interesting collaborations or jobs once you get better. And the third really important benefit is that you always have older videos of your playing that you can compare yourself to. So whenever you feel bad about your playing at the moment or you feel like you're not making any progress right now, just make sure to watch a video from last year or from 2 years ago to really see how much your playing has evolved. And get ready to cringe at the stuff you thought was good enough to upload. At least that's how I feel with my older stuff.
1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 and so on.
The third habit I want to discuss with you today that really helped me is taking jobs outside of your comfort zone. And with that, I don't mean that you should just take any job that is offered to you, but accepting and dealing with situations that put you outside of your comfort zone as a player might really take you to the next level or even to a professional level. To give you an example, I was asked to play acoustic guitar for a different studio or live projects a couple of years ago. And while that is not my favorite thing in the world or my biggest passion when it comes to the instrument, I accept it anyway. And it honestly really helped my playing and my overall technique in many different ways and really put things into perspective. Whenever you feel too good or too confident about your playing, playing, I recommend taking a gig where you have to play acoustic guitar with in-ear monitoring on stage. Then you will really hear all the tiny things and details you still need to improve. I also accepted to play some slide guitar parts with a bottleneck in the studio a while ago. That was a really fun but very challenging experience, and I learned a lot. And my initial thought was declining because I'm really no expert when it comes to that. But when you always decline jobs or gigs that are outside your comfort zone as a player, it will be really hard to improve over time. The fourth topic I want to discuss today is a bit personal, but I'd like to feature it on this list too. This one is called No More Alcohol. I know that it doesn't sound very metal or rock and roll at all, but it's another thing that really helped me as a player. I was never a super heavy drinker, but when you're constantly on tour, when you're playing shows, or when you just work with self-employed people a lot, the concept of weekends doesn't really apply. So when you go out all the time after shows, after studio sessions, or after successful rehearsals, for example, you might end up losing 2 or 3 productive days every single week because it's not fun to practice or to record videos with a hangover. So if you think about quitting or just taking a break for a while, I can really recommend that personally. I'm doing that for 1 year now as an experiment, and so far there are absolutely no regrets when it comes to this decision. So I will stick to this approach. Let me know in the comments what you think about that controversial topic. And the fifth and final topic for today is called teaching and solving student problems. Whenever I work with my students over at my Shred Guitar community on Patreon by answering questions or analyzing video footage, giving feedback to audio recordings and all that, I really end up learning something myself and look at things from a different perspective. It's really important to visualize and analyze the biggest common factors that are causing problems and frustrations for my students. By doing that, I can also adapt the most powerful and helpful exercises for my own routine, for example. And much more importantly, I can help out other players more effectively with all these kind of insights and experience I gathered in this group from the hundreds of very different students that are already part of this experience. So if you would like to benefit from all that and take your playing to the next level as well, make sure to check out my Shred Guitar community over at patreon.com/Bernd. I really hope that you got some great takeaways from this video concerning your own mindset and your time with the instrument every day. Leave a like in case you enjoyed this video, that really helps me out a lot, and a comment in case you have some further input for me. And also don't forget to subscribe right now to join this guitar community today and to never miss another video lesson like that again. I will hopefully see you again in the next video lesson. All the best and have a lot of fun practicing.